For ISM this year, I am doing orthopedic surgery. But first, I was just a fetus. And my parents are really foreign, so they were already planning what I was going to do when I was just a fetus. Because I grew up like not doing so well. I was really poor, and they wanted me to have like a good start when I started my career, like already be high, and money's everything to them. So they told me I had to choose law or medicine because that makes the most money, which is what they think. So at age 6, I wanted to do medicine, and I didn't know what I was getting myself into. See, I just thought it was something cool. I thought a doctor was my hero. I thought they could do whatever they wanted to do, whenever they wanted to do it. I just wanted to be independent. And then, when I started high school, then I became confused. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was so pressured into everything and kept being told that I had to go to medical school. I didn't know what medical school was. I just thought I just finished high school and I would become a doctor, but that wasn't the truth. So I was told about ISM, and I knew I had to figure out everything before I went to college. So when I started ISM, I had to start talking about my quote and what words do I live by, and I found this quote by Rosa Parks. It said, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." And that really spoke to me because I'm the only one who could make myself feel bad. I'm the only one who can make my future my future. I can't rely on somebody else to help me get to where I want to be. And then when I started talking about my mission, I didn't want to be like completely certain about what I wanted to do in ISM. I just wanted to have a mind of what I wanted to do. So my mission statement was to enhance and harness a deeper understanding of a career where individuals are fortunate enough to have the ability to save human lives. And that just speaks to me because having the privilege to save a human life is huge, and it's like you have so much brain capacity to take in that information, and it's unbelievable that a person just like you and me can just save a person's life from all the information they've been taught. But I did not know what I wanted to do in medicine. I did not know what I wanted to study. I didn't know what interested me in medicine. So that was the most difficult parts this year for me. But then I started thinking about surgery. And then surgery was really interesting to me because I'm very hands-on. I'm very visual. I don't like just sitting down and never seeing my patients, and never, like whenever I go to the doctor, I see my doctor if I'm like dying and like can't breathe. I never see him just to say hi. And surgery, like, it really speaks to me because surgeons get to have that interaction with their patients, and they get to do the actual work of fixing. They don't just sit around and say, "Hey, you're sick." They say, "Okay, I can help you get better." And this was my inspiration because when I was a little kid, Grey's Anatomy was like everything. Actually still is everything, but still. And then I started doing my research and my interviews, and that started helping me decide what I wanted to study. In the beginning, since I didn't know what I wanted to do, I focused on medical school and everything that had to do with medical school. I found out that since a lot of people have been telling me that there has been a decline in doctors, people who want to pursue medicine because of the changing medical field, and I started researching more about it, and then I found out that's not true. A lot of people want to be doctors. A lot of people want to go into that field. And then this graph shows the increase in people. 5.8% of people for first-time applicants for medical school. There's 6.1% of total applicants for medical school, and then there was 2.8% first-time enrollments of medical school, which is an increase in people, not just a decrease. But for me to go to medical school, I had to pass my MCAT. I didn't know what an MCAT was, so I researched more about the MCAT and found out that it's changing when I start medical school. It's going to be 6 hours and a half long, which is really, really scary, and I don't know how I'm going to be able to do that. But then I found out they're making it more diverse of a topic. They're making it social, biological foundations of behavior, critical analysis, reasoning skills, so it doesn't just focus on medicine, it focuses on everything else that has to do with medicine. My first interview was with Dr. Neese, and he was a very different kind of person that I met, and he was the kind of person that you either love him or you don't. But he taught me a lot about researching my topic and making sure that I know everything about the topic of field that I want to study, and going into depth with knowing that you have to have a lot of passion for the field you want to do, because there's going to be a lot of negatives. It's not always going to be sunshine. And one of the biggest things he told me is that when I asked him if surgeons get affected by the surgeries they do, and if they have like a side they pick, if they get emotional attachments to them, he said he's human and everybody gets emotionally affected, and that really made sense because everybody's human. They always have to develop emotional attachments to them. So I started researching more about that, and I found out in operating rooms it has the highest risk, which makes sense, but I thought operating rooms were supposed to be safe places, not scary places. And then I found out that surgeons have an emotional connection with at least one of their surgeries every day, which makes me like become confused at the moment, because if they're giving more attention to one surgery, are they giving the same attention to the other surgeries they're having? Are they choosing which one they're going to put their best effort in? And that's scary to think of your surgeon just not putting his 100%. And then I started to figure out, since doctors are leaving because of their emotional attachments, because they get scared, they don't want to continue with keeping that much emotional distress over their patients and having death and all of that, what happens to the patients? And then I found out that the world is aging, and the world's going to be 20, this shows that there's a lot of diseases going around, and over 35% all the way over here in Africa and in Asia over diseases that are probably going to happen soon. And this is all the physician to patient ratio throughout the world, which is scary because in Nigeria there's less than 5 physicians per 10,000 people, and that's 5 surgeons per 10,000. India, South Africa, and then it gets higher and more okay for European Union, but it's scary at the fact that Nigeria is this low and it has the most disease rate. So by 2030, 22% of the world will be old, and that means there has to be more information about what people have to go through when they're old, more analysis over that kind of stuff, which means that we are needed. Everybody who's trying to be a doctor now is going to have a place. They're going to have a place to fit in whenever they get to that point in their life. My second interview was Dr. Benet, and he was really helpful with telling me that the people who are in medical school right now are going to be very needed for technological aspects, because they're the only ones who have grown up in that era. They've only ones who have used technology in everyday life. They're the only ones who have had cell phones do everything. And he taught me that you should never give up, even if everyone is telling you that you will fail, which showed Dr. Haslam, who told me that, the same thing. And he has gone through a lot of things. He's gone through ups and downs with his family, his education. But whenever he was in residency, he had 5 kids in residency. That's scary because when you're in residency, you have 120 hours every week. So you sleep every other day. You don't even get to sleep every day. And he had 5 kids, so he was able to balance that work life and that family life, which is inspiring. And he had a mentor who inspired him too, so that inspired me for him to inspire me. That makes sense. And I started researching more about what he was telling me about smoking and how it affected surgery, and that interested me, how much information he knew, and how it was so easy for him to tell me more about it. And then it was some random surgery I was talking about had a higher chance of infection for smoking, which is scary because there's a lot of people who smoke, and the infection rate for smoking is huge. And now I have my mentor, which is great because I've been stressing about it since the beginning of this semester, and it's Dr. Haslam, and he helped me become very fortunate enough to have him and let him guide me through it this year, because he's already had a lot of great ideas for my final product, and he's made me really more interested in orthopedic surgery because I didn't know what I wanted to do. But yeah, I'm excited for what is to come.